Welcome to my craft table. Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I want to show you how I made this card. It's got a lot of glimmer on it. Uses the delicata inks. And let's get started. I have a scrap of the gold foil. I have a piece of white, which is 2.5 by 5.25. I have a piece, this is soft suede. I think the original I used early espresso, but whatever color you want to use for your background. And this one is 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. My card base is the the sparkly one. Get on here and I forget what it's called. Shimmer white. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is stamp this piece. I'm going to stamp the front of it. I'm bringing a post-it note. And I'm going to put it on this back piece so that we don't get the ink on the back of it. It wouldn't probably matter if it folded over onto the back of the card. It would look nice too, but there's no point in it. Okay, we're going to use delicata ink, soft suede, old olive, and a little crumb cake maybe, and memento. And for the stamp set, I have the Christmas gleaming for this ornament. It is optional. It looks really sharp without the ornament, so you could make it a non-Christmas card. And Very Versailes. And I'm using every stamp set in here except for the thank you and the always thinking of you. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to bring in this ornamental one, this one, the delicata ink, and I'm going to stamp the whole front of this card. I'm just going to randomly stamp it. So I'm going to start like here. And I'm going to make like a pattern across the front of the page. A lot of it's going to get covered up anyway. Basically, I'm making my own designer series paper. And I've got ink onto the one over here. Let's do one over here. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. Okay, now I'm going to bring in this piece. I'm going to flip this over because that metallic ink stays wet for quite a while. I'm going to use that same stamp. I'm going to stamp it down here. But actually, before I do that, I want to stamp this one. I don't know if it'll make any difference what order you do them in. I might as well just go ahead and stamp this. But this will go over this, so I think that's why I did it that way. So I'm going to bring in the crumb cake and the scripty looking one. And I'm going to ink that up. I'll turn this way. I think it'll fit on there better. And I'm going to stamp one over here at this bottom section. It's alright if it didn't get all of it, it's fine. I'm going to stamp another one up here towards the top, more towards off this side. And I want a little bit more down here. Okay, so I'm done with that. Now I'm going to bring in this gold one. I'm going to stamp that down here in this bottom corner. Perfect. Alright, now I'm done with the gold ink. What did I do with the lid to it? There it is. Well, the delicata inks dry slow, but they dry hard, so you want to make sure you wash your stamp pads off fairly, your ink off fairly fast. And for the metallic ink and the white ink, I actually recommend the Stampin' Scrub. I use the chamois for almost everything else, but I like the Stampin' Scrub for the delicata and the white ink. Okay, now I'm going to bring in this green one. I'm just going to stamp it once, coming from the top of the page right down the center of the page. Moved it a little bit, but hopefully it won't look bad. And I'm going to pick it up without re-inking. I'm going to stamp it again. It gets a really soft shadow. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in this scrolly one and the soft suede ink. And I may have used the Early Espresso on that one. We're going to use soft suede this time. We're going to use both first and second generation. We're going to stamp it once full strength down here towards the bottom, about all but like 2 of the little designs. And we're going to go in above it and only do about 4 of the designs without re-inking. This looks like the same ink I used. Okay, then we're going to go above where this scrolly thing is, maybe about half of it, 5 or 6 of them. And then again go over so there's 3 or 4 of them. Okay, we're going to go up to the top and we're going to do almost the entire thing. And then we're going to come down here below it and just, we want even less than this one. Okay, I'm going to stamp again. Over here I need some. So just pick a random amount. Go below it. Stamp a little more, and I'm going to turn it around. Well, actually, I'll just stamp it and stamp off. I need one more for here. Just a couple. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to bring in a sponge. They come the big round, and I cut it into 6 pieces. And I'm going to bring in the crumb cake ink. Ink on my sponge. And I'm going to rub some of it off so I don't get any harshness, and I'm going to go around the edges. Just kind of give it a little bit of an antique-y or not quite as crisp white look. Because the shimmer paper is more of a cream color. This makes them go, and that way this stands out because this is white. And that's where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the sentiment and the memento ink. I'm going to stamp it right inside that scrolly. Have a beautiful day. Perfect. Okay, let me bring this up so you can see what it looks like now. You see the little bit of inking around the edge. Okay, we're going to mount this to the soft suede piece, which is 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid glue. There's going to be very little of a border, like less than a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, then I'm going to bring in some twine, baker's twine. This is white baker's twine with gold in it, and it's just some I had in my stash. I'm going to wrap it around this top of this 3 times and tie a bow. Okay, where's my snips? Fiddle with that bow a little bit. Move it over a little bit over onto this side. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my card base. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this piece. I'm going to use up these bones. This is from a paper pumpkin kit. It's just all I have left of that. Something very satisfying with finishing up a package of dimensionals. Come on. Trying to get these papers off the back. Okay, now this is going to go over on this side of the card. There's maybe a 1/2 of an inch. And there's just going to be a 1/16 of an inch above and below the layer. Now that would be a lovely card, just like that. I don't think it needs anything else if you don't want to. And let me show you how I did the ornament in case you want to add it. So I took a piece of the gold foil paper. And I need a block. And VersaFine ink, or excuse me, Versamark ink, and silver embossing powder. So I'm embossing silver on gold. And I did not treat it with the embossing buddy, so you'll see that there's a very faint little tiny bit of silver all over the thing. It was like a happy accident. It kind of looks really cool, so I'm going to do the same thing. And where's my ornament? I didn't get it out. Let's get the ornament out. And we're going to stamp it with the Versamark. Okay, then we're going to sprinkle it with the silver embossing powder. I have it in the coffee filters, and I have 2 coffee filters because it makes it easier to put it back into my container. That way I can just pick up the coffee filter, fold it in half, and put it in, and then if any falls out, it's in that other coffee filter. Okay, then let me bring in my heat tool. And I like to emboss on this little wooden cutting board. It makes it diffuses the heat a little bit, so it helps the paper not to warp quite as bad. If you want, I'm not sure. Watch it. See how it's starting to melt and get shiny? Just gotta let that cool for a little bit of a second so that it doesn't be tacky. And I'm gonna bring in my punch, gleaming ornament punch. I'm gonna put that in there, punch it out, center it up, and if you put it down on the table, pops right out. Alright, now I'm going to bring in a couple of dimensionals. Put it on the back. I always use more dimensionals than I probably need, but okay, then I'm going to place that. Let's move these strings up a little bit. If we can. Oh, I can't because they're glued down with the dimensional. I forgot on the back. Well, and then we just put the ornament on. Let's move this one over here so I don't hide all my greens. There we go. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. Here's the card that we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. Each one's going to be a little bit different again, but it's a lot of fun. Well, thank you for joining me again, and you have a great rest of your day stamping and crafting.